Hare Krishna. Welcome to Ved Sathi. My name is Sachi. The topic that we are going to cover today is the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. We are going to present this topic in 3 parts. Today we are presenting to you part 1. Basically, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters and total number of shlokas are 700, covering all the 18 chapters. And the broad breakup of Bhagavad Gita is as given in this slide. Chapter 1 to 6 present Karma Yoga, chapter 7 to 12 presents Bhakti Yoga, and chapter 13 to 18 present Gyan Yoga. Here you can see that Bhakti Yoga is provided in the middle section of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the book of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the most precious part of the Bhagavad Gita. Just like we have a jewel box, just consider that the bottom portion of the jewel box is Karma Yoga, and the lid, the top cover of the jewel box is the Gyan Yoga, and inside that box is Bhakti Yoga. And another aspect, that Bhakti Yoga is in the middle section of the Bhagavad Gita is that Bhakti Yoga provides strength to both Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga basically is providing strength to both these yogas. So part 1, Karma Yoga, comprises of chapters from 1 to 6. Chapter 1 is observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So in this specific chapter, Arjuna becomes overwhelmed with compassion for his relatives. When he sees the opposite army, he becomes overwhelmed with compassion. And he feels that there would be no enjoyment in being victorious over his own near and dear ones. And he's also fearful of the sinful reactions that he will incur if he engages into the war, as well as destruction of the family traditions. So basically, considering all these factors, Arjuna decides not to fight. So the state of Arjuna is provided in the chapter 1. What all reasoning he gives to Krishna for not fighting this battle, all that is given in chapter 1. Next, chapter 2 is contents of the Gita summarized. Here in this specific chapter, Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna and accepts Krishna as his guru. And Krishna then gives him the knowledge of Sankhya, that is the knowledge of body and soul. Sakam karma, performing prescribed duties, gives enjoyment. And then Buddhi Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga, performing duties with knowledge and detachment. And Krishna also talks about qualities of a Sthit Pragya or a self-realized soul. Next, chapter 3, Karma Yoga. Here Krishna explains that performing action based on Nishkam Karma Yoga is better than renouncing the actions based on Gyan Yoga. So here Krishna advises Arjuna that Arjuna must do Nishkam Karma Yoga to set the right example for the people. And also here in this chapter, it is provided how we can conquer lust. Lust is basically the greatest enemy of living entities, and one can conquer lust through spiritual intelligence. Chapter 4, transcendental knowledge. This is Divya Gyan, transcendental, Divya, beyond the material plane. Here Krishna tells Arjuna that this transcendental knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, Divya Gyan, descends from Krishna through disciplic succession. So there is a Guru Shishya Parampara, which begins from Lord Krishna, and through that Parampara, this knowledge descends to the people in general. So that importance of that disciplic succession is given in this chapter. And then the divine nature of Krishna's appearance and actions. So when one understands the divine nature of Krishna's appearance and actions, it frees one from material entanglement. Then Krishna explains to Arjuna how karma can be understood on the platform of Gyan. Gyan means knowledge. And how can one attain knowledge? Knowledge can be attained through yajna, sacrifice, and by surrendering to a bona fide guru. Bona fide guru is one who belongs to authorized disciplic succession, Guru Shishya Parampara. And that begins from the parampara that begins from Krishna. Next, chapter 5, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Here Krishna explains to Arjuna that Nishkam Karma Yoga frees one from bondage. One can attain freedom from the cycle of birth and death by focusing on the Supreme. And Ashtang Yoga and Bhakti Yoga give liberation. So Ashtang Yoga is basically described in detail in the next chapter. And then the last verse of chapter 5 is the peace formula. Basically, in the world, everybody is looking for peace. How can one attain peace without spirituality? Because basically, spirituality unites all living entities, not only human beings, but also animals, plants, insects, birds, everyone. So peace formula is given in the chapter 5. What is the understanding that every living entity has to develop in order to maintain world peace? Then chapter 6 is Dhyan Yoga. Here Krishna explains how one can advance in the Ashtang Yoga. What are the stages of the Ashtang Yoga practice? Control the mind through practice and detachment. So that Krishna explains here. And then Krishna declares that Bhakti Yogi is the topmost yogi. Okay, we are going to go through every verse. When we are done with this, overview of these chapters, then we are going to learn shlokas, understand shlokas one by one. Individually, we'll pick up every shlok starting from chapter 1 and we'll be sharing the understanding, the purport as given by the Vaishnava Acharyas. So we are closing the session for today. Next part, we will be presenting overview of chapters from 7 to 12. That is Bhakti Yoga. This specific video is dedicated to our Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.